Hey everybody, Larry Lawton here. Got another good video for you. It's going to be about an assault on Rikers Island I'm going to discuss here. And why I'm going to discuss it, you'll understand here in a minute. Before I get started, please check me out on YouTube member programs, Patreon programs, our Discord. Please, it's all in the descriptions below. Check our merch out. We got some great new merch coming too. Check out the book, Gangster Redemption. People are talking about it all over. I'm going to be speaking to some other people about maybe a movie or a TV series, so that should be fun. Let me jump into this video. This video is going to be about an assault in New York City at Rikers Island. The famed Rikers Island is one of the worst jails in the country, and it still is, even though they're trying to fix it. And they have been trying to fix it since 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when they try to say it needs to be closed down, which it does. They could do other things in New York. They could put them in boroughs, they could put smaller. Rikers Island was the big New York City jail. It was one of the biggest in the world, actually. But I was in New York last week, and I ran across this story, and I started doing some investigating about it, and it brought back a lot of memories. Obviously, because of an incident that I know that happened like this, and I'll explain that here in a minute, in the feds. This happened on Rikers Island. The case is a kid who's an armed robber. The kid robbed a livery cab with a gun, supposedly with a gun, pled not guilty, but still, he's in there for that. And I'm not saying he's guilty either. I always believe that as well. Until you are found guilty by either a jury or you take a plea, you're not guilty. This young man is 19 years old. The mom hasn't heard from him for a while, and they ended up finding out he was stabbed in his cell. Got 30 stitches in his legs, 20 stitches in his back, got cut in the throat at 1:30 in the morning, and he doesn't know how the inmates got in his cell. Hello? Obviously, guards opened that cell. There's no other explanation at all. You don't break out of these cells. You don't break into these cells. I've been in prison I was in prison straight for 11 years in maximum security prisons. The lowest I was in a medium, but I've never ever seen somebody break through a prison door. Never saw it in my life. These doors are made for fucking an elephant that couldn't get through these fucking doors, obviously. We used to joke that prisons are great because no one will ever break in. And obviously, they didn't break in my opinion. These guys were let in. Well, anyway, at 1:30 in the morning, this kid hears the doors opening. He tries to hold the door closed. He can't. Gets rushed by a bunch of inmates, stabbed in the back, stabbed in the legs, the back, the neck. Ended up having to go to Bellevue Hospital. This kid was laying on the floor for blood loss. The prison system now is acknowledging. First of all, this is what kind of pissed me off. They didn't let the kid make phone calls. They didn't tell the parents what went on, even though he's 19. They didn't tell any family members or anybody on his thing what happened. They don't know what happened. They're not getting answers. They're being refused visits, not told why, until they had to contact their assemblyman, which is like a councilman or a congressman or whatever you want to call it in your state. And they had to get him to get answers. They finally got answers where the prison admitted what happened. And they said the inmates are going to be charged. The job description for corrections officers is very clear. There's a duty to ensure inmate safety, and we did not see that happen here, he said. It's a tragedy, but it speaks to the culture of violence there. We have a jail system that's not working. That is from an official at the jail. Hello? I mean, you'd think they take a person in custody, they should at least be responsible for their safety. Obviously, it doesn't happen that way, and this is not a incident that you could say, oh, these two kids on the yard were playing basketball, one lost, kids had violence, they have anger management issues or whatever they have, and this is the incident. This is not. They had to, for whatever reason, for why I don't know that, and I've been looking into it to find out if this kid was, another gang member and they didn't like him. Did he piss a guard off? Did he spit on a guard? Did something happen? Why they let this kid's door open at 1:30 in the morning and this kid was stabbed like that. Now, obviously the mother wanted answers, and she didn't get answers, so she went the whole route. Now, it reminded me of an incident in Atlanta, United States Penitentiary, Atlanta, in the holdover unit. Now, people come from the buses all over the planes, everywhere in the holdover unit. And I know this case because I read the legal briefs on the case, and the guy was suing. Guards let other inmates into this guy's cell. He was charged with child molestation or something of that nature. I'm not even exactly sure of the charge or if he was convicted. And like I said, guards don't like him either, but they let these other inmates in this guy's cell, and they ended up beating him down, and his eye came out of his socket. His fucking eye was hanging down, is what the brief said. And they beat him half to death. And, you know, I always wonder when that happens, why somebody like the guard, they can figure out what guards or who guards or open this cell door. Now, are cameras off? That's what they're claiming now. They are claiming that, oh, the cameras are work. They took this kid out, and the guards, this is what the kid actually said. He said he was cut over 100 times. The doctors are lucky to be alive, is what he said, this young kid. But when they transferred him, he tried to refuse, but was taken away with 4 other detainees to another unit where roughly 8 inmates were causing a disturbance. In the midst of the chaos, he was put in a locked cell, but about 1:30 in the morning, the anxious detainee somehow got through the locked door and attacked him, his mom said. Somehow got through the locked door? Don't buy it. But she said her son's encounter ordeal began with the officers pulling him out of his relatively peaceful unit at the Davaren Center about 10 p.m. on February 19th, telling him, "You're going to have a fight, and if anyone gets stabbed or hurt bad, it won't matter because the cameras are out." Wow. You know, even if that's a little true, if it's not true, then they should have the cameras showing what happened. And that's the end of the story. Show what happened, how the cameras did it. And listen, cameras are so cheap, they're everywhere now in jails. But in this case, obviously, if the cameras are out, and I'm putting up my quotes like I do, you want to talk about somebody who should be held accountable. Let me put it this way. In the real world, in the free world, if this happens out here, if I was out here and I, Larry Lawton, let somebody, and I know somebody's going to get killed if they go into that door or into that car, and I help them open that door, I am now a participant and a co-defendant in a murder or an assault or an attempted murder. And I should be a co-conspirator, and I should be locked up. The guards that opened that door, and they did, somebody opened that door. The inmates did not jimmy a door open. Trust me, they did not do that. It will drive me crazy if they say that. I've never seen it in my life, and I never heard of it, ever. So if somebody has heard of that, let me know. And I've been in a lot, like I said. I've never seen him. I've seen him kicked to death by fucking guys, 300 pounds, strongest guys, 2 guys, try to push shit. You can't do it. These things are fucking made of steel, and they're made so strong that you can't kick a door off off the hinge. It's not like your house and not the shit you see in movies. It's not. Anyway, and this guy, whoever is involved in this case, and this should be a bigger case than I'm even seeing. I know it's in New York, and it was in the Daily News on March 28th. So I know it was just a few days ago that it was in the news, and I researched it, and I read about it, and I heard it. There was mumbling on the streets from guys that I heard. Rikers is 40% less crowded than it was in 2016. And in January of this year alone, there were 48 slashings. That's razor cuts. I used them. Everybody used them in Rikers. It's where you slash someone with an open razor blade and a comb or whatever. 48 in January alone. What is going on there? Is it just unmanageable? If that's the case, they should put these people in places that they can manage them. Is the guards? Is the people not giving a shit? There has to be a reason that they can't take control of this jail in any kind of way. Now, listen, I'm all for you treat people the right way, and you should. Everybody should be treated the right way. I can't understand why we can't treat people the right way, figure out who's the mental problems, put them in specific units whether it's a lockdown unit for X amount of time, if they're a mental person and they're going to hurt somebody or hurt themselves. In the state of Florida or in our county, we have what they call circles of care. If a person is either going to harm himself or somebody else, they can actually put you into this facility, literally like with a straitjackets, and they get counselors and they get people to help you and figure out what your issue is. That's even if you're going to commit suicide or hurt somebody else or do something like that. New York City, obviously one of the biggest cities in the world, they should have a handle on mental illnesses and crimes. Now, this incident I don't think has anything to do with mental illness or something of that nature. This incident is a straight assault, either a paid cop or, and when I say cop, I mean guard, paid guard, or just a vicious guard or somebody who wants to just fucking see somebody hurt for whatever reason. Now, this investigation should be public. I'm kind of getting over this. We have to do this investigation. When the cops say we have to do it, I get it, you do. But why don't you be more transparent? And who shouldn't do this investigation is Rikers Island. They should not do this investigation. They should have a separate arm that is totally independent of Rikers Island, or even maybe the city. It could be an outside investigator. It could be another state investigator that does this investigation. Because how can an agency investigate themselves? You can't do that. How can you do that? That's like me murdering somebody and saying, let me do the investigation on Larry. I don't find anything. Doesn't happen, people. They can't do that. They call them internal affairs. It's like the police. The police shouldn't investigate themselves. Any police agency who has a shooting should not be able to investigate that shooting. It should come from an outside agency. A fair and legitimate investigation. There should be a fair and legitimate investigation into this case on Rikers Island, and the public should be known and have updates. Not just, we're going to come up in 3 months or 6 months and give you the investigation. Because, one, did they do that on purpose so people forget about the incident? While this young person was stabbed 100 fucking times and got stitches all over his body for something that he's lucky he's alive? I mean, I'm surprised they let this guy live, or somebody got a conscience at some point. I am dying to find out how somebody got in this guy's cell, because they did the investigation in the feds, and they found out it was a guard that let the person in. Obviously, I don't know what happened to that guard, but there was an investigation, and he was suing, and this guy's going to sue, and he's going to make money, and who pays for that? The citizens pay for that. The New York residents pay for that, and that's bullshit. So the New York residents should be up in arms by having people who cost the city a lot of money. I often say this, and I mean this, and you can take any police department, any sheriff's department, any federal agency or correctional agency. If they have a lot of lawsuits, something is wrong. Something is wrong. And then the leadership of that institution should be gone. Period. If you have a police agency that keeps having lawsuits, that means they're not fixing problems when they do get them. Occasional lawsuits happen. Occasional bad apples with cops or correctional officers or whatever happen. Get it. But when leadership keeps having those same issues and same lawsuits, that means that leadership is not either doing the proper training, proper policy writing, doing something. So leadership should be fired. Somebody in that agency should be gone. I don't want to hear about it. You're not able to manage this organization and the people under it. I'm not saying it's an easy task. I'm not saying that you snap a finger, it's done. But now, since 2016, they've been talking about closing Rikers Island. Obviously, they had a reduction in people by 40% today. But obviously, they're having more assaults. So, wow, what is going on there? What no control do they have? Is it the guards and the unions saying, fuck them, let everything happen, and then maybe they'll realize they need this? Or they tried to stop solitary confinement unless it's extreme situations, which I agree with. Solitary confinement is something that will fuck your brain up. I can't say it hasn't fucked mine up. I think I've handled it well, but don't get twisted. I think there's always a little problem. I think I had a little problem. And, I had to get over what I had to get over, period. That's just what I, Larry Lawton, had to do to be a productive member of society. And when I read about situations like this, how do I justify a system, any system? Or does it just give me all the credibility in the world because saying I'm telling people how broke our system is? I hate to be right in that regard, that the system is broke. It's so fucking broke, it's not even funny anymore. How would you like your son or daughter to make a mistake and go to a prison or jail and either get assaulted to the point where they're going to die, go to a place and get more fucked up on drugs because there's more drugs in prison than are on the streets? What is it that we are messing up when other countries like Finland and Germany and England and Italy and Spain and France have such Canada have a better criminal justice wing of the Department of Corrections? Listen, we need the Department of Corrections. I respect good guards. I always said that. I always did. I have a friend I consider a friend today, and a few of them. Massey, there's another one I'm going to do some more business with shirts. I have people that I respect because they did the job they had to do. Obviously, there are people I often talk about that don't belong ever getting out of prison because they're psychopaths. But that's only a small percentage. 95% of all people are getting out of prison. And what happens then? Are they going to be a productive member of society, or are they going to be a person who's going to be dredge to society and cause somebody harm, have another victim, do a whole bunch of stuff and cost everybody not only money, heartache, and serious loss of life maybe? When I think about this case here, this young man at Rikers Island that was assaulted at 1:30 in your locked cell. That was the one place I talked about sometimes that I felt comfortable or not on edge when I was in my cell. And if I was in a lone cell, I definitely did, because when I locked that door, I knew I was safe. I could do anything I wanted in that cell, with myself, that I didn't have to worry about being assaulted. Now, when you're on the yard and any other situations, you're always on guard. Your senses are hyperactive. You always know what's going on around you. You're looking at people's feet. You're looking at what they're wearing. You're looking at the demeanor. You're looking at who's playing the games, who's not, where the TV rooms, are they congregating? There's so many things that I processed. But when I was in my cell, I didn't. I could actually read my books and do certain other things. And even when I worked in a law library, you always were conscious who walked in the room, who was around you. Here's a young man at 1:30 in the morning. He's put in a cell at 10:30, locked in the cell, locked alone in the cell, and he's assaulted at 1:30 in the morning. Boy, if that doesn't ring alarm bells to everybody out there, then we are missing the boat, and we are on such a bad path of what I believe correction should be, or rehabilitation should be, or jails or prisons should be. To boot, forget what he's charged with. He's innocent. You are innocent until proven guilty, supposedly, in the United States. So right now, this man pled not guilty. He's an innocent man who was assaulted at 1:30 in his cell. You could talk about anything else. We're not talking about Epstein, who was already convicted and he was going to turn state's evidence or whatever it was. We're not talking about a person who is in a prison who has been convicted of a very serious crime, a Whitey Bulger or a rapist or a Jeffrey Dahmer or whoever it is, and then he ended up getting killed. Listen, it's wrong, but I almost understand it. When you're talking about a person who has not been found guilty and is innocent. Is he innocent? I don't know. Nobody will ever know. Well, in this case they will, but if somebody dies and he got killed, we would never know. And how wrong is that? How messed up is our system when we let that happen as a society? That's like you getting a DUI, going to jail, and getting killed. It's not fucking right. Even if he was guilty, he did not get the death sentence, or he did not get an assault sentence where you get assaulted. We know assaults by guards. Is this one again? Is this one where the guards just turned a blind eye or helped them? Because how did it get into that cell? Until that question is answered in my mind, and it should be held in public, and they should let the public know right away, and they should march that guy who did that in handcuffs straight to the fucking prosecutor's office and put him in jail and let him have his fair day in trial and see what he says. Because if you could do that, then I believe we're going to show the public that we care about corrections. We care about rehabilitation. Until then, it's all a fucking joke. And it's a sad joke. But it is happening. Anyway, I hope you like what I talk about. Please give me comments. I do answer them. Please give me your video suggestions, which we are doing. I appreciate your support. Have a great day, everybody. Please stay safe. Make good choices. You don't want to go to the places I talk about. Please learn from me. Make those good choices. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you Sunday.